Hello to everyone. It's a real pleasure to be with you today. And I'm very happy because our remote participant is here, so everything is perfect. Great. Well, maybe I will have my slide. Yes, it's great. So, lockdown, war, inflation, shortages, new regulation. In fact, to have an holistic view of our supplier has never been so crucial. And this is the subject of this roundtable. And I have the pleasure to welcome different CPOs, and I'm sure it will be a great roundtable. So, the first one is Roque CARMONA. And Roque CARMONA is our first remote participant. And Roque CARMONA is Group CPO of THALES. Hello, Roque. Can you hear me? Yes? You disappear?
I can hear you very well.
Oh,
everybody.
It's great. Where are you right now? In Dubai?
I'm in Dubai.
No? Ah, in Dubai,
I'll
okay.
tell you which location.
Okay, great. So, what about THALES? In fact, THALES, it's in 3 global markets: aerospace, defense and security, digital identity and security. The amount of order intake is about 20 billion. And regarding procurement, it's around 8 billion. The second person I would like to welcome is Wilfried Cournet. Wilfried Cournet, you are Purchasing Process Director in DECATHLON. And if you are a sports person, I'm sure you know DECATHLON. Okay? And DECATHLON, just to have a view, your company mission is sport for the many. Your purpose, to be useful to people on their planet. And your turnover is about 13 million. And concerning, you are located in 60 different countries around the world. Okay? Pascal PELON. Pascal PELON, welcome. You are in-country CPO, Chief Purchasing Officer, and you are working in a leading insurance company, AXA. AXA, your mission is to act for human progress by protecting what matters. Concerning your revenue, it's 100 billion. And if you want to have an overview concerning regarding procurement, IT and general expenditure are about 5 billion. And the last, I'm very happy, a woman, yes. Hello, Coline, how are you? Well, this is Coline PONT. Coline PONT is a CPO, Chief Purchasing Officer at ACCOR. And ACCOR wants, in fact, to lead the hospitality revolution. And concerning their network, they have a network of 5,200 hotels around the world in 110 different countries. But you have also created a group purchasing organization named ACCOR and managing 2.3 billion of spending per year. Okay? So we understand that it's very important to have an overview of our supplier. And the first part of this roundtable is dedicated to the how. How to have a holistic view of suppliers. And the first question is for Roque CARMONA. And Roque CARMONA, before answering, please, maybe I will see him. Great. Okay, so before answering, can you please specify the number of your supplier?
As you said before, Natasha, THALES is a global company, and we are present worldwide, from Australia to California, US. We serve different markets, and we use last year more than 17,000 suppliers worldwide. But if you want to be more precise, for everything but direct material is roughly 4,000 suppliers. This is what we have in THALES right now.
And how is it possible to have a holistic view of your supplier?
If I come back to your introduction, Natasha, we are all facing right now difficult moments.
No.
And one of the most important is clearly operational excellence.
And I'm sure you have tools that can permit you to have this holistic view. Can you be more precise concerning the different tools you have?
Yes. In fact, what we have to share, it's that we started this transformation back in 2016, and one of the key challenges was really to have this focus on risk management. And I usually don't like to start like this, but what was important for us is making sure that we have one common database for all our suppliers, that we have one process worldwide, how we create and follow our suppliers. And at the end, even if I don't like to start like this, we wanted to have one tool. And in Thales, we decided to go with e-acquisition, with helping us to making sure we have the whole holistic view of our suppliers. We are able today, this tool e-acquisition, really to capture all the different signals that we are able to follow regarding risk management. It can be financial, can be anti-corruption, can be technical dependencies, technical accident, and so on. And what was important for us is really not only to have the connection, but really to have the full digitalization of the risk. Like this,
our connection is not very good. Our connection is not
no,
very good.
I think there is somebody. I think there is somebody who is also connected who is not on mute. So I think Veronique is to mute.
I interrupt you, and I will give you. Okay. So Pascal Pelon, at AXA, you told me that risk management is in your DNA. Wow. It's impressive. How is it possible?
Hi, everyone. You know that in insurance, risk management is our purpose, you know. And in procurement, this is the same as well. And as everyone in the room and remotely, we faced issues regarding regulations, like duty of care, GDPR, and all the one you know. The key for us was that we had a very early awareness about those risks, because this is in our DNA. And we started very early in 2007, working, for example, with EcoVadis. We were one of the first main customer of EcoVadis, using EcoVadis to assess CSR risks. And then after that went all the regulations regarding data, GDPR, and we have to strengthen our controls. And but this is a high load for the buyers, as you know. And the key was to automate the controls. Then we use the best of breed, what we call the best of breed of the tools, to automate the controls with like a wall check, if you know, like credit safe for dependency, and the EcoVadis as well, again to check our CSR risks. And this is the key right now, to be able to know better our suppliers and to share that within the company.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, great. Yeah. And in Decathlon, you have a huge project currently to have an overview of all your supplier, production supplier, and also indirect supplier. Can you describe this project, yes. Wilfried?
You have to know that we have 1,400 production supplier to produce a product, of course, but we have also 15,000 indirect suppliers.
Yeah, wow.
So of course it's a huge amount of supplier, and where in production we are quite well organized already to manage who's supplier and to master each and every detail about it. For indirect purchase, we were starting in a way in 2019 with Christophe Vasselet in this room, a project to set up indeed a very strong indirect purchase team. Yeah. Today, Paul Tessier is managing nowadays this team, and they are starting to grow. And what is interesting also is we are working more and more together together because according to the business model of Decathlon, who is more and more oriented on digital, but also service and all, finally, at the end of the day, we could share more and more suppliers. So accordingly, we set up a project together in order to digitalize the management of those suppliers, of course, for savings and holistic overview, but also for the sustainability and all which is linked to the risk management and all. We decide to go with Evalua, so we start the project, and we are under process of setting up this tool into our company.
Coline, during the preparation of this roundtable, you explained to me that, in fact, the real problem is not how to collect data, but rather what kind of data. I think it's pretty interesting. Can you explain your point of view?
Yes, for sure. So today at ACCOR, we have around 3,500 suppliers, and we have a lot of info about our suppliers. It could be either financial info, ESG ratings, turnover, a lot of info. But the real thing is that, and our main difficulty today is to track what I call informal data. And I will take an example. Last year, 2 years ago, we faced a huge crisis in one of our hotels north of Paris, and there was a huge strike with a housekeeping company. And everything was perfect. I mean, EcoVadis, on-site audits, but at the end of it, we had no data to track and to understand what I would call the social climate at the supplier, how it goes on the daily basis. And for me, I would say that now we will increase what on-site audits, but with more regular on-site audits. And I'm fully convinced that we have to increase our budget regarding this kind of tools, because otherwise we could consolidate a lot of data, but in this world which is so complex, how to consolidate this informal data with all this formal data. And for me, that would be one of the main challenges for the next year for the procurement.
And you give me the example of Huawei. I think it was a very great example. Can you tell us?
Yes. Before I was working for a telecom company, and I remember that after my first meeting with Huawei, and you know this Chinese supplier, they asked all the team to follow, I would say, know your customer training, and this training was 19 months training, just to know more about the power map, the org chart, everything about their customers. And if we compare what our sales team know about their customers and what the procurement function know about their supplier, I think there's kind of a gap. And of course, they have Salesforce and this kind of tools, and they know more about us than we know about them. And I was quite surprised to discover that we need to find a way to fill this gap, not only with our I would say tier 1 supplier, but then tier 2 and perhaps tier 3 one day.
And this is the subject concerning, in fact, I propose you to start with the second part of this roundtable concerning a deep dive into the supply chain, because if you want to have a precise understanding of our suppliers, it seems essential to know the suppliers of our suppliers. But in fact, at THALES, Roque CARMONA, it's not a big issue. And can you explain why it's not so important for you to know the suppliers of your suppliers? Because in fact, you are working directly with them. Can you explain your relationship with your supplier? I'm not sure he can explain us the relationship with his supplier. Okay, let's go. I propose to Decathlon, okay, to explain your organization, because you have, or maybe first, sorry, concerning tier 1 and tier 2, because you want to better know your tier 1 and tier 2 supplier. But what is interesting is that you want also to work more directly with them.
Yes, indeed, because so globally speaking, we have a good way and good relationship with our tier 2 and tier 3 supplier to manage supply, quality, and risk management in a way. But the main challenge for us is to come more and more upstream in the value chain because innovation is there.
Yeah.
You want to innovate in a product, finally, most of the time it's coming from the raw material or the component. So this is the way we are going into in order to collaborate much more with those players and yes, indeed, to innovate and especially on sustainable component and products where we have a lot to do now. And the challenge we face is also to make all those people working together. So we have to be very good at orchestrate finally this panel of suppliers who have sometimes no link at all because sometimes we are connected with chemists or even machine builder and some also very classic finished goods suppliers or component supplier. So our target is to make all those people collaborate as much as possible to generate innovation, such as, for instance, we have a guy who is building a seamless machine. Okay. So this guy is connected with a SOX finished good assembly supplier, and we make this guy working with a sole supplier in order to propose a knitted shoes with a concrete, clear patent linked to. And this is the way Decathlon is going into it. So yes, to be able to set up alliance between all of those players.
And you speak about the love link.
Yes.
I like this term. Can you explain it?
Yes, the one who know Natasha, she said preferred customer. Most of the time say how much is important to be the preferred customer of our suppliers, of course. Since many years already in our company, we talk about the love link. It's the same kind of idea. We have to strengthen the love link with our supplier. And it's starting from first a reverse evaluation of what do they think about us. This is what we are starting because if we are very close to our supplier on the field, we have qualitative information, but not quantitative information. So we are starting some survey in order to get their point of view yearly, and then to improve it step by step, the quality of our relationship to make it as much win-win as possible.
Yeah, it's a great project. At AXA, in fact, the challenge is not only to know your supplier, but to better control them, and especially in IT. Because IT is crucial in insurance.
Yeah, this is crucial, and this is the most critical projects we've got. This is IT project or BPO project, and usually we by the contract we say that the subcontractor is the responsible for the service. And he has to declare all the row 2 or its subcontractors. And the challenge we are facing is where is the responsibility? Is it the row 1, the prime contractor that is carrying the risk, and we don't know anything but only the name of the row 2, or shall we control as well the row 2? And this is a key question, and we don't have the answer right now, but we will have to answer it very quickly, because when you are facing data challenges or issues, you have to be clear of who is responsible of what. That's critical. Yeah.
It's a big challenge, not only in insurance, but in all sectors nowadays. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And at ACCOR, you want to know the location of your tier 1, your tier 2 suppliers, but in fact, this knowledge, this information raises new problems. Can you explain why?
Yes, just for you to understand, because at ACCOR we're buying a lot of, for example, food and beverages, because in a hotel, for sure, you can eat in our restaurants. And we need to know more, not only about the country where everything is produced, but the region and then the city, like when you're going into market. But today, our suppliers are not always ready, because, for example, if you took a tomato, sometimes it comes from Spain, then from the south of France, depending on the season, season and the weather and so on. So digitalizing this info is very complex for suppliers because it changes almost every day, depending on it's like trading. So today we need to develop new tools to enrich our system with this kind of data, and location is key for us, but also for our customers, because when you are in one of our restaurants, for sure it's really true for food and beverage, but for example for what we call dry amenities, everything you find in a hotel, in the bathroom, we need also to explain where the exact location where it has been produced, and before it was a mix of different countries just to optimize the pricing, and today we need to think about relocating some production just to be sure that we have the right location for the right, I would say, brand of our...
Does this mean you want to relocate suppliers?
Yes, for sure. We will begin with our luxury brands because in terms of cost, there is, I would say, it costs the double almost between what is produced today in Asia compared to what is produced in Europe. But we are facing some difficulties to find factories still producing in Europe. This morning, for example, I had a call with the girl saying, okay, we need to call someone in Portugal to try to find someone producing slippers. It seems stupid, but you don't have any more production for slippers in Europe and in France. So that's why this relocation project is a huge project for us.
And can you explain the case concerning laundry? I think it was very interesting. Is it possible or not?
Yes,
yes. Okay.
So laundry, you need to find linen and clean linen in your room. So of course we have big suppliers like Elis, and we are one of their major customers. And before we were challenging them, of course, on the pricing, and with the energy increasing, we are struggling. But at the end of it, with all the ESG pressure increasing, we are trying to optimize the number of kilometers done by each truck delivering each of our hotels. So that's why, in terms of, I would say, measuring our performance, our procurement performance, but even for hotels, at the end of it, all the KPIs are evolving.
Yeah, it's a great project. And I think that you are in the same logic in Decathlon concerning relocation. Yes, can you explain
slippers?
It? No,
looking for slippers.
We could have. You can consider we have few. Yes, indeed. I would say first, since the beginning of a story, to produce as close as we retail is our DNA. In a way, we have been all the time in such a way. It's as much important for us to produce in China for China than in India for India or in Europe for Europe. But the fact is, and the COVID crisis showing us that perhaps we were going a bit an unbalanced relationship in that target in Europe especially. So we are working hard in order to go for not the reshoring or nearshoring, we talk about the right-shoring, because this is key. I could give you an example, for instance, if you look at a bicycle, today 83% of our bicycles sold in Europe are produced in Europe. But I would say our assembly in Europe, because the component is not coming from Europe. So this is where we have to make that step. This is why we talk much more about right-shoring, but for sure we are going into that way.
Yeah. So, Roque, do you hear me? Yes?
I'm back, sorry for the technical issue.
Oh, no problem, it's great you are here. So, concerning the knowledge of your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, you told me that, in fact, at Thales, it's not a big issue because you are working more directly with your supplier. Can you explain your relationship with your suppliers?
In fact, what I thought was a weakness for Thales by buying too much parts instead of system came out as an advantage in this crisis. So in Thales, we don't buy big system, big equipments, but we really buy the small components. So we really know our supply chain up to very low levels. So there is very few deeper tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for us. So we got able to specify and control everything from the beginning up to the end. And this is what makes us stronger during the crisis, to be honest. So it's really not what you buy, but how you buy that was important for us. And going more in a build to print versus a build to spec, which is easier to know your full supply chain and all your suppliers in your products.
And can you speak about your experience concerning electronic component? Just a bit.
We are a little bit in a crisis, as many of you know, that it's impacting across different markets. But what we have done, and this is what I was mentioning before, but also doing massification for our suppliers. So we specify components and we look for components that we need, and we're making sure that we have the contract for them. So they have access to our contract, they have access to our supplier base, but we are the one choosing and defining. And this is what, when you control your parts, what's easier and make us navigate through the crisis and probably easier compared to other ones.
Yeah. And you are working directly with Samsung, with TSMC, with Infineon, and so on. So you know very well these suppliers.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Well, let's go. Thank you, Roque. I would like to go to another part of this roundtable. Okay, and maybe we can see the last part of our roundtable. It's about customer. Why customer? Because in fact, the purpose of all companies is to bring value to the customers. And my question is, how is it possible to bring more value to our customers with a better understanding of our suppliers? And Roque, are you still here? As the connection is very good, maybe you can. I would like to have your opinion. It would be great. No?
In fact, what we have done in THALES a few years ago, it's we started to, I will say, go up the chain and making sure that our procurement guys are involved as early as possible, and really be there at the beginning when we create a project, when we create a bid, when we create a solution. So when we see my population in procurement, where it's roughly 1,400 people, 1/4, so more than 1,000 people are really involved upstream and making sure that we challenge and propose the best solution to the suppliers, to the customers. And in fact, when you see the statistics, 66% of the innovation are coming from our suppliers. So what we do, it's really challenging internally what we can propose, coming out from our suppliers and helping our customers. This is what you do in THALES.
Yeah. And you told me that your purchasing organization is completely customer-oriented. I think it's great. Yeah. And you have also a very interesting organization in DECATHLON, and to ensure final customer satisfaction. Can you precise this organization?
Indeed. Finally, what we condition the customer satisfaction for DECATHLON is to make their product qualitative, of course, available, affordable, and sustainable. And to do so, the direct purchase organization is based on a very strong backbone of 2,300 people, DECATHLON people, based on site, in the site of our supplier, or very close to, in 44 countries. And with the supplier, we are working very closely in order to achieve those different targets, which are quite tough sometimes, to master the price and as well the quality and of course the sustainability. So this is the way we are going into, means we work deeply with our supplier on the field in order to support them to achieve the target we want to achieve with them for the customer satisfaction.
And how many people are dedicated to suppliers? They are working on site with supplier?
2,300 people, globally speaking, for the 1,300 suppliers we have. But in few suppliers, some partners, for instance, with whom we have a very huge volume, we could have such as 60 people on the site working with the supplier daily, once again on quality, supply, sustainability, compliance, and all.
Wow, great organization. Yeah. I would like now to focus on a specificity of service sector, because I think it's crazy, yeah? And Pascal, you told me that, in fact, supplier knowledge improves customer knowledge. How is it possible?
Yeah, we've got a specificity within insurance sector is that our customers are as well our suppliers or vice versa.
But it's the case in many different service sectors, in fact.
Yeah, this is the case. And then we've got many data regarding the suppliers and then the company. And this is very interesting for our sales teams to know more about their customers. And this is right for the sales team. This is right as well for the CEOs, where they meet big customers that are always suppliers. And we've got as well a special duty of care as well regarding those customers or suppliers and regarding the payment terms. And we try to be very smooth with that. And during the crisis, the COVID crisis, we speed up our payment to be sure that all our suppliers were paid very fast, very quickly, and then our customers, this is cash for them. And that give a very good position for procurement, strategic position, because when you know about the customers from the CEO point of view, you are very important. Then this is very big, and we have to keep that, because this is very good for procurement to be known as knowing as well the customer, the KYC to the KYS to the KYC.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And do you plan to share your database, or?
Yeah, and the challenge we're facing now is to make a common data between sales team and procurement teams. And it is quite difficult because data is everywhere in the company. This is as well outside the company, and we are trying to keep like a collector of those data that could be used by any team in the company, or all the teams.
Yeah. And Roque CARMONA, it's very interesting because you say that during crisis you are closer than ever to your CEO, Patrice Caine. Can you explain why?
Very simple, because execution is key.
Yeah.
And if you want to deliver to your customers and making sure that you reach your priorities, you need to be able to really use all your management to escalate when needed in some cases. And you mentioned before with TSMC, with Intel, with other suppliers, sometimes the CEO level is needed and almost part of the procurement team, because it's helping us a lot in pushing suppliers when we need.
Yeah. So in fact, crisis is an opportunity for procurement, or what do you think?
I hope not, but at least we can show our added value during the crisis, and people realize that yes, we were doing something.
Yeah, okay, great. And Coline Pont, sorry, my last question is for you. In your opinion, what is the next challenge concerning supplier knowledge?
Yes, for sure for me, but I'm sure it's the same for my colleagues.
Yeah.
It's something about carbon and being able to measure and track all the products or perhaps services both to our suppliers in order to expose this info, to showcase this info to our customers. So, and I was quite jealous when I read, and it was, I know that you know them quite well, Manutan, and perhaps you know this B2B player announced that now they are able to track the footprint of each product and to showcase this footprint on their e-commerce platform. So for sure, we have to understand how they are doing and do exactly the same for all of the products and services we will buy in the future.
Is it also your main, I suppose it's the main challenge in Decathlon, but...
Yes, of course. And what is key is the measurement, because without any kind of measurement, we can't improve ourselves. So this is where we are pushing a lot with that intention, like all of us, to be carbon neutral as soon as possible. This is a big challenge. And the first one is the measurement, yes. Indeed.
At THALES, what about carbon footprint of your suppliers?
Nothing new. nothing new, and by the way, we just did a supplier conference last week where we share our key priorities, and no surprise, number one was operational excellence, which is on time and quality, competitiveness, because I think it's important in the coming market and with inflation, and number three was, of course, more than just CO2 carbon, was the ESG, so really the environment, societal and governance piece that is very important for us and must be taken care about our supply chain suppliers.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you to all for your very interesting contribution. So it was great. I thank you all. And now we will have a break. So enjoy the break. And we will find us later concerning decarbonization with a roundtable with Volvo, with Safran, and with Moet NSC. So it will be great also. Thank you very much. Thank you to all.